Welcome everyone to this series, Where Are They Now? Sponsored by HU Alumni. And this is a series where we will be talking with students, former students and alumni, to really ask them questions about what they're up to, how they moved on, what are they engaged in at the moment, and also what they've learned that they're applying from university to their everyday life experiences. My name is Dr. Shama Dossa, and I'm an associate professor with social development and policy at Habib University, and I've been here. This is my 7th year, and I'm very excited to be interviewing Anzal Abbas Jaffari, who's one of my former students and has been doing some amazing things. So welcome, Anzal.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Shama, for giving me the opportunity. It's an honor and pleasure.
And so, Anzal, do you want to talk a little bit about yourself and what you've been up to since you left Habib?
Sure, Dr. Shama. Once again, thank you so very much for giving me the opportunity. It is an absolute honor to be here with you. Right after my graduation, I ended up working in a public health department situated in a pharmaceutical company. Over there, I worked on different public health projects at a national level. I also got the opportunity to work on few publications with very senior people. So that experience helped me develop some basic skills and also the know-how of the public health department. Right after my graduation from that role as a public health associate, where I worked for like 15 months, I joined an NGO called Ahang. तो आहंग का ज़्यादातर काम जो है वो SRHR में है, सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्टिव हेल्थ राइट्स में, एंड SRHR के अंदर जो I got the opportunity to work as a research associate, but also I had an additional portfolio of monitoring and evaluation. So I got the opportunity to go into the field, talk to the community people where the interventions are being run, of course. But more than that, मुझे बेसिक जो रिसर्च करने का जो हबीब यूनिवर्सिटी में एक्सपीरियंस था, उसको एक प्रोफेशनल वर्ल्ड में प्रैक्टिकली यूटिलाइज करने का मौका मिला उन तमाम स्किल्स को. Starting off from like going into the field, talking to people, and then doing a research, writing a research report. So हमने maternity health और मुख्तलिफ women health से related topics के अंदर research भी की, primary research भी की और monitoring and evaluation भी की. Meanwhile, while I was doing all of this work, I felt that I have a role to play towards the society. I can contribute positively towards the society. So जो भी थोड़ा बहुत हबीब यूनिवर्सिटी के अंदर अपनी लिमिटेड नॉलेज से मैंने assess किया था, I thought that there is, and this was a hypothesis developing from primary and secondary experiences both, that there is a lot of funding coming in Pakistan particularly, and countries like Pakistan, for education and health. So that establishes the fact there's a lot of work being going on in the development sector with the government at the private level, at both education and health sectors, and particularly for young people, for children. Of course, जब इतनी बड़े लेवल के ऊपर फंडिंग आ रही होती है और काम हो रहा होता है, I thought again from secondary research that there's always room for very small initiatives to prosper, where those small initiatives or a group of people can help improve the quality of work which is already going on. And the thing which I realized from again from what the development sector evidence shows, that you can do that by creating sustainable partnerships. Therefore, I had the idea that why not we create a social enterprise which aims to be sustainable, both financially and of course program-wise also, which is focused towards young people. Children, particularly age 9 to 12 or a little older than that also, which is focused towards young people, and which aims to create partnerships with different institutions who are already working in the field of education and health, and help them improve the quality of service delivery. So that was the overall aim. So therefore, I created a social enterprise called Bagh-e-Sakina. Bagh-e-Sakina, as the word shows, as the name suggests, basically means Sakina basically means tranquility, but it is dedicated towards a historical holy personality, Sayyida Sakina, and therefore we work for children through her name. Now, for Bagh-e-Sakina, as I told, the vision was, to work with different institutions and work for children welfare. That's what our title says also. We work for children welfare, young people's welfare. Mm-hmm. So, meanwhile, I was in Habib University. I graduated, I was working. I got the opportunity to apply for a grant of young cities sponsored by ISD Global. Now that grant helped us, we got the grant. Now the grant people said, okay, your idea is great. Now you need to have a team. So then, I reached out to people in my batch and my juniors. We all graduated, so they had some opportunity to work. So and then gathered a team. So the founding team is also for this particular project, from Habib University, from different majors: computer science, C&D, social development, and policy. And that helped me get different levels of skills in the team, and we got the grant and we initiated the project. The project was basically working on positive behaviors, children's critical thinking, and we're talking about children aged 9 to 12. And thirdly, on their civic engagement. So we developed activity books, we developed mobile applications for them, and we just wanted to adopt the play-based learning model. And the initial idea was since the beginning that when we go to school, we don't want to overburden them. We just want them to feel that we are here to help them improve the quality of education. So we can talk about the primary and secondary research and background, but that was the overall idea. So yeah, that's what we have been doing. So far, we have trained around more than 1,000 children in different low-income schools of Karachi, and we have developed activity books for them. We have developed mobile application, one particular mobile application, again designed by the Habib University students for their Khidmat project that helped us, gain another level of partnership and also, contribute, include that in our overall program.
This sounds really amazing. आपने जो यानी कि मुझे याद है जब आपने मुझे कॉन्सेप्ट नोट इसका भेजा था और अब कहाँ तक पहुँचे, बहुत ही यानी कि फख्र की बात है। और मैं ज़रा सोच रही थी कि इस तरह के सोशल एंटरप्राइज को स्टार्टअप करने में आपको किस तरह के मसाइल पेश आए, या यानी कि जो मसाइल आप समझते हैं लोगों को ज़रा बताना चाहेंगे कि इस तरह के काम में जो है किस तरह स्टार्टअप किस तरह हुआ और इसमें क्या क्या मरहले से आप गुजरे।
थैंक यू डॉक्टर शर्मा। यस, बिल्कुल। मैंने आई थिंक फ्रॉम स्टार्टिंग ऑफ फ्रॉम द नोट वेयर यू इनिशिएटेड, मैंने सबसे पहले इंटेलेक्चुअल लेवल के ऊपर, क्योंकि जाहिर है हमने जब स्टार्ट किया तो हमारे पास ज़्यादा तजुर्बा नहीं था, हमारे पास यूनिवर्सिटी का अच्छा तजुर्बा था, लेकिन उसके साथ साथ हमें काम करने का भी तजुर्बा चाहिए था। और दूसरी बात, वी ऑल नीड टू सपोर्ट आवरसेल्व्स, आवर फैमिलीज, in terms of finances and in terms of finances also. Therefore, we needed, at least I at an individual level needed to do a job also, and I was coming right after my university. So सबसे पहला चैलेंज ये था कि मैं अपनी फुल टाइम जॉब के साथ, जिसका मैंने अभी जिक्र किया, उसके साथ उसको किस तरीके से बैलेंस ऑफ करूं। दूसरा सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज था कि हम आप जैसे एक्सपर्ट्स और मुख्तलिफ एक्सपर्ट्स के साथ कनेक्ट करके एक ऐसा प्रोग्राम बना सकें जिधर और उस जो हमारा ओवरऑल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जो हम सेटअप करना चाह रहे हैं उसकी बहुत सारी लॉजिस्टिक्स होती हैं। वी डिडंट नो अंटिल वी स्टार्टेड इट। सो उसकी एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव लॉजिस्टिक्स में उसके फाइनेंसेस इज अ चैलेंज, उसकी जो इंटेलेक्चुअल ग्राउंडिंग है उसको मजबूत करना इज अ चैलेंज, bringing experts on board is a challenge, resources बहुत limited थी, that is a challenge, but I think the most important of all, क्योंकि जब मैंने idea मेरे पास सिर्फ मैंने पेपर पे लिखा था, सबसे बड़ा challenge होता है लोगों को convince करना, and in order to do that you need to have your idea grounded in the reality. I think that is what we have learned from Habib University कि अगर प्रॉब्लम जो है आपने खुद सेल्फ क्रिएटेड प्रॉब्लम है या आपने सही तरह रिसर्च नहीं की है, कम्युनिटी में लोगों से बात नहीं की है और आप उसको सोल्यूशन प्रोवाइड कर रहे हैं तो फिर इट डजंट वर्क. सो आई थिंक ऑल ऑफ दीज चैलेंजेस, उसकी सस्टेनेबिलिटी ऑफ द प्रोजेक्ट इज अ वेरी बिग चैलेंज.
So basically what you're saying, I mean, one of the approaches to how you sort of set up a social enterprise is through community engagement and participation, right? So you said that one of the ways to overcome it is to take a bottom-up approach as opposed to आप ऊपर से आए और लोगों को बस बताएं कि हम ये काम कर रहे हैं. You want to take people along with you और उनकी जो सोच, उनकी जो समझ है, उसको लेते हुए फिर आप अपना प्रोजेक्ट डिजाइन करें या प्रोग्राम डिजाइन करें. सही कह रही हूँ?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल. और इसीलिए मेरा जो पहला स्टेप था वो यही था कि मैं आप जैसे एक्सपर्ट्स को रीच आउट करूँ, जो कम्युनिटी जिसके लिए काम करें, स्कूल्स, बच्चे, टीचर्स, उनसे जाके बात करें. और जब आप उनसे बात करते हैं तो वो प्रोग्राम जो है इवॉल्व होता रहा. उसके बगैर जो है हम लोग कोई सस्टेनेबल चीज नहीं क्रिएट कर सकते थे. बिकॉज हम पहली बार जब स्कूल्स में गए, उन्होंने सबसे पहला सवाल यही पूछा, हमारे तो ये प्रॉब्लम्स है, आप हमारे लिए क्या कर सकते हैं. So you just cannot go on कि हम अपनी एक थॉट और फिलॉसफी के साथ जाएंगे और हम आपको बताएंगे क्या करना चाहिए. हमें उनको जाके फ्रॉम द वेरी बिगिनिंग ये सेटिस्फाई करना है कि वी आर हियर टू हेल्प यू, एंड दैट कैन नॉट बी डन विदाउट लिसनिंग the community, the stakeholders, from the stakeholders themselves.
It's also good for people to know like what is the value of an education that is a liberal arts focused one, but also I think that a program that is only theoretical but doesn't have practical aspects of it becomes challenging if you want to set up a social enterprise. So I think that it's really important when people are choosing a program to look at whether the program is purely theoretical or they have practical elements to it as well, because for the field of social development and to set up social enterprises, I think the practical element becomes really, really important as well, right? Theory and practice have to go together. So when you think about the technical skills, and you mentioned a couple of tools and technical skills, but you also mentioned that you have multiple technical skills and tools and skills because you have a multidisciplinary team. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. So a very important element of our education at Habib is, education focused towards design thinking, particularly जो हमारी दूसरी degree है, communication and design. And we have people from that in our founding team also from that particular degree. So वो जो design thinking skills थे वो हमारी एक base साबित हुए creating that social enterprise, because you need to think that whatever work you are doing, number one, what stakeholders do you want to talk to? Where do you want to start analyzing the problem from? Where do you want to start analyzing the solutions from? And in addition to that, the very concrete hard skills like आपने social media के ऊपर उसको किस तरीके से अपने काम को present करना है, because we were doing we continue to do a lot of policy so we continue to do a lot of policy advocacy also on social media. For that you need some skills which you cannot get until and unless आप अपनी education को interdisciplinary रखें. अगर मैं सिर्फ theory पढ़ता रहूँ, I would not be able to get that particular skills. Then and most importantly, team building, and that team building and working with different people and people from different backgrounds. That's one of the most important skills you need to have, which was very, very adequately developed in Habib University, because we had the opportunity to interact not only with students of different majors but also very closely with professors of different majors, because they bring in very different skill sets. And I would also like to mention in the class which I took from you, program planning design, I remember that we also did team building. We also did financial modeling, which is a very important skill. A budget कैसे बनाना है, and that was something which I was exposed to for the first time in that particular classroom. And in addition to that, you need to have some, because we are dealing with a world which is which is increasingly being digitalized, you need to have basic knowledge of, computer science also. Which really helped me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Anzal, for sharing that. And I think it's really important to sort of realize that when courses are designed, they need to be designed keeping the practical world in mind, as long as you can also bring the theory and the practice in together. And so I'm really glad that you actually utilized a lot of the skill sets that you got from the course. So it's really nice to see how the work that you do and also the volunteer social enterprise work or the volunteer work that you do can overlap and interconnect with each other. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So my work, which I was doing, fortunately, I was very lucky. And maybe that's not the case with a lot of people, because we live in a very difficult economy, and I completely understand and realize that आपकी financial needs होती हैं, which you need to fulfill. Sometimes you can fulfill from a very mundane job. Sometimes you get a fruitful job. When I started off and I worked in a public health department, which was situated in a commercial company, the dynamics over there was very different. Of course, something which was very new to me, because I had some volunteering experience in the parliament and places like that, but I was never exposed to the commercial world. But that was also very important, and the reason I took that job was because it was relevant to me, public health, but also that helped me develop a sense of how the commercial world works. And you also need to have that sense, because what I learned was there is a lot of opportunity in Bagh-e-Sakina. When we talk about financial sustainability, there's a lot of opportunity to get some funds from commercial companies which are in their domain of CSR. I wouldn't have been able to know that if I didn't work in the CSR department of that particular company. So that helped me. How again, something which was I exposed to at a very basic level, financial modeling. Therefore, something that skill got very defined in a commercial company, because for obvious reasons they're always talking about that. And secondly, how to interact and deal with these big organizations, big health sector, education sector organizations. Until and unless you're not exposed to, and through that particular work experience, I was exposed to the workings of, for example, Indus Hospital, for example, Tabba Hospital. You realize, okay, these are their priorities, these are the priorities of the funding agencies in the local context. So you realize how to work with them and how to work your way through that. So that really helped me in Bagh-e-Sakina. And then Ahang was very instrumental to my technical skills, because going into, again, I'm reiterating the point, going into the community is very important, but you need to develop that humility, which comes with, of course, good knowledge always brings humility, that you go into the ground, how to talk to them, understanding the stakeholders' needs while not making them feel uncomfortable. That is a very important element. And we did street theaters in Khairpur district, in Mithiari, in Shekhupura, Vehadi. If I didn't have this experience, and over there we also talk to young people. So I got an opportunity, because ARM really works with young change makers going into the community. If I didn't have the opportunity to talk to young people across Pakistan, I wouldn't have been able to realize Bagh-e-Sakina in this particular way, because now I know, at least I have an idea that young people have very different aspirations of what we think while we are sitting in a comfortable room. They might not want to do what you want them to do. There are a lot of things they want to do differently. So if our job is their welfare, so in order to do that, we also need to think about their needs. Their economic needs, their social needs, because at most of the time they realize when we go with a social project in a particular community of young people, the most important thing for them is coming out of that poverty trap, because if you're going in a village, so you also need to realize that when you're developing a social project, how you're helping them in that regard. Otherwise, they wouldn't be very much interested in it. So all of these things, you learn on ground. You need to be on the field. I wouldn't have been able to do that if I was not going into the community through these jobs opportunities.
I guess we're sort of wrapping up our conversation here, but one of the things that I just want to check in with you is if you have any advice for graduates looking to drive social change. The program that you started with Bagh-e-Sakina has been really exemplary, and it would be very interesting, I think, for many people to sort of hear some advice from you in terms of starting something up.
Definitely. I just wanted to say that initially my idea, and even today, is to build a facilitating center for children, where children can from different backgrounds come and do all that they cannot do in the school because of different limitations.
It's amazing to hear the story of Bagh-e-Sakina and how different sort of like students from across different disciplines who are alumni have come together to support such an interesting and amazing project. I wish you all the best, Anzal, and I hope that the project sustains itself and you sort of can fulfill your vision that you've set out. Thank you so much. Khulda Hafiz.
Thank you so much. Thank you.